2, 1, go.
Alright, so this is Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse. It looks pretty similar at the start to Castlevania 1, which Comrade just ran, but probably the biggest single thing that separates this is that this game has branching stages that you can choose paths through, along with a total of 4 playable characters. You have Trevor, who he's currently playing as, and then 3 different spirit helpers. And then this is going to be a Sypha run, so it's using Trevor for the first couple stages, then he's going to recruit Sypha, and then use her for most of the rest of the game, who has totally different abilities. So goal in stage 1 is to get the holy water, and then a triple shot multiplier for it, so we can use that to quick kill the first boss, the Skull Knight.
Yep. And to power up the holy water, all you need to do is destroy 10 things with it. So I've already destroyed 6 there. And on the 10th, it'll drop the Roman numeral, which means you can have 2 on screen at once. And yeah, Sypha, you're going to see some pretty cool things. She has the ability to freeze things, and those are going to be used for some pretty interesting skips. But we won't actually see her used until the latter half of the game, because holy water is extremely overpowered. Do we want to introduce the couch?
I guess we can.
I'm Comrade.
I'm Poexel.
I'm Skybills.
You probably just saw at least half of us.
All right, so coming up is
coming up is our first
boost.
Bone Pillar.
Oop. All right, that works just fine. I was trying to land on the right half of the fireball there.
Yeah, Bone Pillars have a lot of health for regular enemies, and he's going to be trying to skip as many of them as possible without actually fighting them.
And yeah, we'll have the first boss here. Hopefully it goes well. All right, we
No
did this.
problem.
Oh, man. No campfire
Oh,
there.
no campfire.
Rip. So yeah, we
And
have
then also like in Castlevania 1, he wants to end stages with 0 hearts, so he doesn't have so that he speeds up the score countdown as much as possible.
yeah, it's like a frame or 2 lost per heart at the end.
Yeah, so if this was a Grant run, he'd be going up the up path here to go to the clock tower and get Grant. But for all other categories, go the bottom path to the forest.
You can do a quick donation if you like.
Absolutely. We have a $50 donation from Keeper221. He says, "Good, my cat woke me up for the Castlevania block. I forgot to set the alarm. Also, I usually donate 25, but forgot to donate last year, so here's double to make up for it."
That's what I like to hear. All right, so this screen is
This screen
one
is
of the most
a screen,
worrisome.
yeah. So these owls, he has a little bit of control over as far as when they immediately spawn, but then they're basically random after that. So he's kind of just trying to control the randomness as best he can with his cross, as far as the heights he's throwing them at.
On a PB attempt, I would just hold right and hope for the best, but they have a random chance of dropping sub-weapons, and I really want this cross. So at all costs, I want to make sure that I don't kill something when it's to the right of me in such a manner that I can't stop my momentum to pick up the item.
Yeah, because getting a bad sub-weapon is pretty much a fate worse than death in this game in a lot of places, because not only do you lose the sub-weapon you have, but you also lose your shot multiplier.
Yeah. That's actually easily the thing I'm most worried about in this run. It's just random drops. So.
Now, it is important to note that once Tanna starts using Sypha, Sypha actually does not contain multipliers because her weapons are so OP. Holding on to the ice is going to be very important because, again, there are several sequence breaks that take place because of Sypha's ice. So that is the #1 weapon he does not want to lose later in the run.
Again, another branching path. If this was an Alucard run, he'd be going down to the swamp, but for other categories, go straight to finish the forest.
One movement mechanic I did want to point out is that I'm always whipping on the way down from a high jump, And the way that works is if you finish the whipping animation at the same time you land, you actually reduce the animation. Hold on, I need to focus here. Okay. The landing animation, you'll normally land real hard and sort of sit on your knee for a second there. But by whipping at the right time, you kind of trick the game into thinking it doesn't need to do that animation anymore. So that's one of the few movement mechanics you can actually. Ooh, okay, that's what I'm talking about. I almost lunched out and walked right into it.
You had to say something.
Yeah, because you can kind of have a feeling when you're due for a drop in this game, but it's random as far as which specific enemy is going to drop it, even if you're killing the same ones every run.
Though when you do get one, I think there's at least 8 enemies where you don't have to worry about it again. So it's almost a relief if you see it and you don't get it, because that means you can relax for a second.
So then we have Cyclops, the next boss. This is a big part of why you switched from the Holy Water to the Cross, just because the Cyclops you have to hit in the eye, and that's not very easy to do with the Holy Water.
Yeah, and you can do a good Holy Water kill for that, but it doesn't really save much time at all.
So now we're going to change that for Sypha here, and again, as with any of the Spirit partners, Sypha and all the other partners actually take 1 extra hit of damage than Trevor does. So again, that's something to be aware of, not only for damage boosting, but for health awareness as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's probably worth pointing out too that since Candace is playing on the US version of Castlevania 3, the amount of damage he takes per hit is tied to which stage he's in, as opposed to what kinds of enemies hit him. Like up until now, it's been 2 damage per hit as Trevor, and when he gets to the ghost ship, it goes up to 3 or 4 for Sypha.
So this level is probably one of the first ones that you'll think is really hard on your first playthrough. It's about as far as I got as a kid, actually. And here again, the thing I'm most worried about is the random drops. But this next room is actually kind of hard too. There you go. If you don't do that jump from the correct location, the zombie will poke you, and you'll go into the pit.
Much like CV1, any one input can kill you in this game. This game allows no room for error whatsoever. There's going to be a nice little damage boost coming up involving this ghost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he just hesitates, he just wants to make sure to hit the right half of the ghost when he jumps, because which direction you get boosted is based on which kind of half of the enemy sprite you hit.
Exactly, yeah. It doesn't make sense as far as like which direction the enemy is going or anything. It's just which side of the enemy do you touch. You can damage boost off that ghost as well, but I want to allow for mistakes in the end of the level.
And this room is about where we start missing Grant, because Grant can actually perform a nice little clip up there and sequence break through the room.
Basically the whole room.
Same thing here. You get a little sequence break in this room with Grant as well because of his jump.
All right, good.
Yeah, there isn't really a ton of room for error on those platform cycles too, just because of how kind of how stiff the jumping controls are for Trevor. All right, say hi to Medusa, and say bye to Medusa.
And bye. I was going to mention that this stage had 2 bosses, but I don't think Medusa is fairly worth mentioning with the triple cross.
Believe it or not, at one point in time, I thought that was really hard. But yeah, I didn't have the cross back then.
Yeah, because the cross turns around when it hits the edge of the screen, and he's able to throw 3 of them and get 2 hits per cross and just blow through Medusa's health bar really fast.
All right, so the room after this one is a potential run killer. You can try to take it safe, but even if you do, you can still have it backfire, so I'm just going to hold right here and hope for the best. Okay, I did changed my plan there a little bit. So the birds are very random in the way they move, these ravens here, and you know, in this game, one of the biggest dangers is simply being back boosted after something hits you, and the bird can knock you into a pit quite easily. All right, so
All right, so then the boss of the ghost ship is actually two different fights. You have a pair of mummies, pretty similar to the mummies from Castlevania 1, and then you have another Cyclops.
yeah, so the Cyclops might play a little safe here, because he actually hits for more damage than anything else in the level. Like, yeah, I know you mentioned the mechanic where
All right.
yeah, so yeah, how much damage you take is dependent on which level you're in, but there are two exceptions. The Cyclops will do extra damage when it hits you with its hammer or body, and the boss of Stage 7 as well will hit you for extra damage. So at the very start of this level is actually one of the most difficult things to time in this entire run. I'm going to be doing a damage boost off a fireball, hopefully to the right. Let's see what happens here. And I missed it. Okay.
So he does have a backup if he doesn't get the reverse damage boost there.
Yeah.
It's not too much slower, but it does cost a bit of extra health.
Yeah, that's the main concern, really. But yeah, so that teeny tiny fireball, trying to aim at the right half of it is not easy. As for these flying guys, their pattern is predictable based on how you move throughout the area. So if you move the same way every time, then they're not too much trouble. But as soon as you get off the script, it can get kind of crazy. There we go. Got at least one of the damage boosts.
Yeah, that one you had to kind of adjust on the fly depending on whether the first axe the knight threw was high or low as far as how he set up the damage boost.
So if all goes well, I will keep this holy water until I'm done using Trevor. But there's plenty of opportunity for that to not happen. So this little auto-scroller, there we go.
Yep.
You tend to get one or two random drops in here, so you gotta be real careful. But besides that, this is a pretty boring area, so feel free to toss the donation up there.
We received $100 from Segfault233, who says, love to see so many games from one of my favorite game series being played at this GDQ. Good luck on your run, Mike. And Eric H. here, chiming in with the important questions. Why does Dracula only keep pork chops in his castle? Because he is afraid of steaks. $25 from Eric there. Thank you, sir.
That was actually clever. I like that, yeah.
I'll give him that one.
There's always one.
Everybody gets one. Yeah, Griffin Ham with $25 donated as well. It says, always donate for the Castlevania block. Donation goes to Jonathan Morris and Bloodlines because Dracula is one of my favorite books. Thank you, Griffin Ham.
And then during the auto-scroll, he was able to farm enough kills to get his triple shot back for the holy water, too. Yep. So assuming he keeps it all the way to the top, Frankenstein, the boss, is gonna, or Frankenstein's monster, the boss, is gonna have a pretty bad day.
So normally you would do actually 3 damage boosts in this room, but I've been playing this level so poorly that I'm going to skip those. Also, want to have a little room for error here for these birds. Again, birds being jerks. So yeah, when he needs to come down like pronto. And there we go. All right. All right, good. So here comes Frankenstein's monster.
And having the triple holy water makes this a pretty trivial fight, especially with the meat in the room.
So quick note about the Ravens really quickly. We're going to be seeing them again here in the moat level. One of the scariest things about the Ravens, yes, we do have the kickback, but there's also the ability where if the Raven hits you, you have the potential to get another random item drop, which we don't want to see, ever.
Yeah, because they do die if they hit you.
The shortest checkpoint in the game right there. And this room can be a little crazy. lizard men or mermen, whatever they are. They can show. They like to show up whenever you commit to a jump. And this game has committal jumps, which means as soon as you jump to the right, you're going right, and you can't stop yourself.
Yeah.
So what happens? Oh no.
Oh.
That's pretty bad. I'm gonna go back and get another one actually. Fortunately, this. Oh wait, I destroyed that axe or candle, didn't I? All right, so this will be fun, guys. This is what Castlevania games are all about. Tempted to just
To use it.
Tempted to actually just die here so I can get more holy water, but we'll go on an adventure here. See what happens if you don't have holy water.
So on the Viper boss coming up, one of the backup strats, especially if you've run Grant in the past, is there's actually really good strategy with the axe. Just make sure you stay out of the line of fire. It's not too bad. It's much slower than the holy water, but it's still effective.
Yeah, because the Vipers do have a fixed pattern.
Oop. Man, it's been so long since I've done this part.
This
without,
room is
holy
deceptively
water.
hard too for how short it is. Because there's so much stuff here.
Yeah, so there aren't really very good backup strats for this as far as I'm aware. Like, if you don't have holy water, you're just going to be plopping along nice and slow here.
Yeah, because the normal route would be damage boosting through the Bone Pillar and the Knight, just because, as you're seeing, just how much health they have. You have to stop for a few seconds to actually fight them.
So yeah, fortunately, this shouldn't affect the run too much longer, because we'll be switching to Sypha soon. Actually, that could make the boss of Stage 7 harder even. Alright. So yeah, this makes it more interesting actually. I like that you guys get to see kind of a worst case scenario. What do you do if things don't go according to plan?
So this is certainly a lot of the challenge of running this game in a no reset setting like this.
Oop, wrong side.
That was very much off script. Nice job, Kenneth.
Really nice fight for
Thank you.
single axe.
So now we switch to Sypha, and we can show off what the Sypha route is all about, which is her ice abilities.
Yeah, because Sypha has 3 different spells, fire, ice, and lightning. All of which are extremely useful in the right situation.
So ideally, you really want to maintain this ice very far into the run till the end of stage 8. So it's very important I don't die. Alright. Oh no, too low. This will be fine though. There we go.
So that was our first ice clip, where kind of like you just saw, you froze an enemy and then used that in order to be able to kind of clip into the ceiling and jump through it.
Oh no, that is pretty bad. Should I just die? I'm gonna actually do that. I want to show off the ice here, so that was very unlucky. The game is trying its best to ruin this run. So yeah, that, you know, obviously dying is time loss, but so is continuing without the ice, so.
Something else to keep in mind, though, is that death did cause Trevor to lose his whip power-ups and sub-weapon, too, so that's something he's going to have to keep in mind when he's getting ready for the boss of this stage.
Yeah, again, could have continued that way, but I mean, really, the ice skips are the most interesting thing about this route, in my opinion. So if you don't do that, it's like, what's the point? So might as well go back and get it. Now, if I get another random drop, then screw this game. It could happen, but one nice thing to note is that when things are killed while they're frozen, they can't drop anything.
And it's only one hit to kill a frozen enemy, regardless of how much health it normally has. So he's able to just blitz through all these bone pillars and knights.
Really tough jump coming up in this room, and I'll let Candace do it, but you have to inch ever so slightly up against the cliff here. We're going to see this in a sec.
There we go.
Nice job. That is a mandatory 5-pixel jump, very difficult to do in a marathon.
Shoutouts to the corner underscore.
Alright, so now I need to be thinking about how I'm going to deal with this boss without holy water. So, thanks to a random drop, I lost the holy water. Then I at least had the whip upgrade, but then thanks to a random drop, I don't have the whip upgrade. So, we're going to power up in this area right here is Trevor.
Yeah, there's a cross in this room, and that should aid with the boss.
Definitely.
I believe the cross does also become Sypha's lightning spell, and that would be another option for the boss, but then you wouldn't have ice for the for doing more skips in future stages.
Yeah, stage 8, the next one after this, becomes nonsensical with the ice skip, and it's really great to show. So I agree with what Candace did here.
That was a little early.
Nice phase 1.
Yeah, so we've
Thank you.
got 2 mummies, another Cyclops, and then a twist. We have a Leviathan gargoyle for the 3rd coffin.
Which reminds me a lot of the boss of Castlevania 1, actually. I don't know if they intended for it to seem like that, but... Yo, extra life.
Now,
Good
is
news.
Cyclops actually dead this time? I wonder by the 3rd time we see him.
And then normally he'd just spam holy water to kill this guy in like 1 or 2 jumps.
Alright, good.
All right.
Real quick, Fan Gamer has chimed in with a $700 donation.
Wow.
They said, what a wonderful day to have a GDQ donation. Great block of games on deck today. Good luck, everyone.
So everything's back on track now. We're going to be using Sypha for the rest of the run. I actually have ice.
Yeah, and then stage 8 is where all of the different branching paths you can take through the game join back together, and then you play the same stages from here on out. And then this is also where the amount of damage you take goes up again another notch to kind of, for most things, 4 for Trevor and 5 for other characters.
So we're going to see a couple ice skips coming up in this. They're going to skip large blocks of this. Not going to see much of stage 8 other
Yeah.
than death.
This is exactly why I died in stage 7. I really wanted to show this right here.
Nice.
All right, one more for this room.
Cool.
Nice.
All right, so picking up the lightning orb, aka Spear Bomb. This is a very powerful spell.
Yeah, it shoots 3 orbs that home in on enemies sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Uh-oh. We'll be fine.
Oh my goodness, Candace.
Okay. So he does have an audio cue he needs to do for this fight, so we're going to be quiet.
Not out of the woods yet. So normally do a damage boost there, so. There we go, all right.
So we were talking earlier about lightning spells sometimes coming in. In the J version, it has way better accuracy, but for whatever reason in the US version, sometimes it likes to find a projectile and just kind of stay on the screen.
So for this stage, I'm waiting to meet the guitarist who can shred the arpeggios that happen in the background. So this section right here will always be the same if you move the same every time, which I did not, so I'm gonna have to react here.
Fire spell drops are a minor concern here, but nowhere near as big a deal as the earlier stages.
Yeah. This stage, I think, is the hardest stage in the game, casually. But most of the enemies here are on predictable patterns, except one particular enemy.
Yes. So then in this screen here, he's going to hesitate just a little bit here in order to delay that second spike crusher, so he can just jump right over it.
And this next room is very difficult if you're playing as Sypha, Trevor, or Grant.
Fortunately, there's no randomness. I mean, both the gargoyles and the bone pillars are very predictable.
Wow.
Nice.
Taking a damage boost here, because it's actually probably more dangerous to go up against that guy as Sypha, because when you're on the stairs, you're basically glued to the stairs, and you can't be damage boosted backwards. But once you're off the stairs, if you try to fight that guy, then you can be knocked right off into the cliff, and it's happened many times, so I just damage boost there. There's another auto-scroller if you want to do some donations.
All right, we received a $10 donation from Eureka, who says, "Hi GDQ, Eureka here. I ran home from work to be able to catch the Castlevania segment, which has been a staple segment for me for 4 to 5 years. Thank you, Eureka." And James the Bard donated $100, said, "While I might be at work, there's nothing better than catching my favorite block at SGDQ. Also, might have missed lunch. Maybe there's some food in these walls."
Thanks for reminding me. We're actually going to get that coming up here.
Good timing. Ken McDole donated $20 and said, "I am a simple man who loves his GDQ. I see Castlevania 3, I donate. In fact, I see any Castlevania, I donate. Here's to more donations because of Castlevania block."
So coming up here,
Yeah, coming up is the last ice skip in the run, and it's a big one too, and it's random how the setup goes. So the run kind of lives or dies in like a PB attempt by this skip coming up here.
yeah,
So he has to use one of the randomly moving birds in order to set up the ice skip.
that might be too high. Nope, okay, well that was good. I wish my PB had that. Excuse me, bird? Okay. It's not over yet, though. I have to fight the doppelganger with fire, which can be problematic sometimes. All depends on what kind of mood doppelganger's in.
Hopefully she's in a good mood today.
Oops. Okay, well, that was dumb. Come on, stay still, buddy. Don't move. Thank you.
So what happens there is if your placement's right, all Doppelganger will do in the Sypha form is just fire its wand at you and not use the fire spell. So very important that the cane's being thrown at you instead of the fire spell.
So this is the final stage here. And not quite as bad as stage 9 as far as the stage itself goes, but Dracula is no joke.
And on this screen here, he's kind of hanging out near the top as much as possible to get the Medusas to despawn and reduce lag.
One case where you actually want the stopwatch in this category is going to be used just in one spot. Right there. I'm going to use this last fireball here to deboost right through here.
And then we got the last checkpoint of the game in the US version.
Unfortunately, they should have given us one right before Dracula. But, yeah. Okay. Alright, getting the meat there, definitely not necessary, but I want to play it safe.
And there is actually a last ice skip that he could do off one of the bones that top skeleton throws, but it doesn't really save as much time as you'd think because of having to kind of wait for the throw, and it's a little risky too.
Yeah, for sure.
Another nice boost right there with the ice and the bat. Saves him time from having to climb the stairs here.
Whew. I almost jumped again there, which would have hit the bat. Alright, so yeah, Dracula.
He has three forms, all of which he's going to be fighting with fire.
Yeah. With this much health, the only thing I'm really worried about is falling in the pit. And of course, being slow, you don't want to do that either, but yeah, pretty straightforward with
Okay,
fire.
got another audio cue here. He's basically trying to time his first shot so that it hits the right head, and he's able to do enough damage to kill it before it moves up out of range. Nice second form. And then time isn't on the last hit on this form, it's when he collects the final orb. It's a few seconds after health reaches 0.
Okay. Well, that's not good. Well, that's fine. It's still a 1 fight, but... Yeah, there you go.
One cycle is very difficult on phase 3 there.
Alright, time.
Your time was 31:51.
Cool. That's not bad considering all the random drops. So. Thank you very much, guys.
The game definitely had it in for you in a couple spots, but you recovered.
Cool. Hope you all